So I am going to be talking to you guys today about building and maintaining a brand, and just a little bit about my background and my story. In 2008, my family lost absolutely everything. We lost our home, and that was in the beginning of the year. And then in April, I was 1 month off from paying my car off. And I let my friend borrow my car, and they totaled my car. So then I was really like at the bottom of having absolutely nothing. I always knew that I wanted to be able to be my own boss and support myself one day. But when you are literally facing the absolute worst circumstance, it's almost, the only thing I was looking at is trying to figure out where I was going to live, let alone how I was going to start a business. And so essentially I was homeless. I was living with one of my friends. I had my clothes in laundry baskets, and I was sleeping on a futon in her office. And so that was probably the lowest point of my life. And I actually had the opportunity to sit down with Trissa and Chiro's dad, Miles, and we were at Cheesecake Factory. And he sat down with me, and I was absolutely devastated. And you know, sometimes when we are in the most toughest places in our lives, we want people to kind of pity us and feel sorry for us. But I was grateful that he took the time when he actually came to visit Trissa when she lived in Sacramento. And he talked with me for almost 2 hours, believing in me, encouraging me. One of the things that he told me to do was go out and volunteer, even though I wasn't working and I have a job. I'm thinking, like, who's going to hire me? How am I going to even get my clothes prepared to even go to an interview? And he said, volunteer wherever you can. You know, do whatever you need to do. Go back to school. So I enrolled that semester to go to grad school. Everything that he instructed me to do, I heeded to his wisdom. And I went back to school. And then I had this crazy idea. My dad's a pastor, and so even in that, it was kind of like, God, we've served you, we've done everything right kind of thing, and you still let this happen to me. But I am so grateful that I encountered that challenge and that problem, because I understood how to become innovative and become a solution to a problem. And so here, my family is struggling. My parents, like I said, they lost everything. My mom lost her dream house. And so I was so determined to do whatever it took to build a business. And so the only thing we had left was our church. And somebody told me, you have a church 24/7. Why don't you start a business? Well, you had to have 3 months worth of operating costs in the bank, and I had no money in the bank. And so I'm trying to figure out, how am I going to make this happen? And you know, one of the biggest thing is that when you have a dream or you have a passion to do something, that's not really enough. You have to become innovative, because innovative people actually do new things and actually make things happen. And so I did what Miles and Roe told me to do. I went to everything that I could absolutely volunteer for in my community. And people started to recognize me. When I needed to furnish the child care center that I was going to start, I went to the places that I volunteered for. And they literally gave me every table, every chair, everything that I needed. Everything was provided for. And I know it was because at the end of the day, God was always providing for me. And one of the things that I also did was I believed fervently that God would provide for me. In Proverbs 16:3, it says, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans. There was absolutely nothing that I could do that would ever make what I'm doing today possible. So when I first started, you know, when you're getting ready to take care of somebody's children, you need to obviously have be reputable in what you're doing. Well, we had never done that before. And so when people would call in to come and try to visit the center, I would tell my friends, call them all up, can you please let me borrow your kids for like 2 hours so that when people come in here, it looks like I have kids in this place. And so people would bring them over, and I really started letting kids come for free. And I thought I was going to lose my mind, because here I am not. I didn't take a salary really for like the first year, because I was trying to pay everybody else, pay my family. My family started working with me and supporting me. And so the one first thing I had to do was, like, I have a problem to solve. And instead of looking at the problem and fearing it, I embraced it. And I was determined to be a solution to that problem. And the next thing that most of us run from, and a lot of us get caught up in, is when you have limited resources, it is probably the #1 cop-out for people to say, I can't do this. My dream will not be fulfilled. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough people. I don't have enough time. I don't have this. And we make these excuses because of limited resources, but limited resources are actually the breeding ground for you to be innovative. The less that you have, the less that I have, it drove me to do whatever I needed to do to actually see something succeed. Sometimes you think you need more people. That might not necessarily be the truth, because sometimes the more people you have, they can cause you to slow up on things. Sometimes you think, well, if I had more money. Sometimes more money just means you could buy a solution, and rather thinking of how you can be innovative and doing something new to actually solve a problem. And so with my limited resources that I had, when I say I had nothing, I had absolutely nothing. But I continued to give of myself. I continued to serve my community even when I did not want to. I showed up in places that I did not necessarily want to be in, and things begin to come to me. And if you are in a place where you feel like you are stuck and you don't have enough, or you don't know the right people, I'm telling you, for me, the person that I knew, Jesus, he is the only person that helped me. He helped me every single step of the way, looking into the Word every single step of the way. And I was just privileged enough to have the opportunity to sit down with Miles Monroe, which I counted such an honor, and to hear the wisdom that he had to say in the most turbulent time of my life, facing the most crazy crisis. I never thought I would ever be there. I never thought I could say, I used to be homeless before. Never would ever want to say that. But I'm grateful of the entire process that I went through. And the other thing that I really had to understand was, when we started kind of getting the momentum moving and some success, and now we are in the county that I live in, we are the best child care center. We're completely full. We have a waiting list of people that want to get in. And you know, you can never get comfortable in your success. If you are successful right now in what you are doing, enjoy it now, because very soon you are going to have to change. Because the arrogance of success is to think that what you did yesterday will be sufficient for tomorrow. You cannot stay doing what you're doing, because somebody will always do it better than you, cheaper than you, faster than you, greater than you. And so I'm constantly trying to figure out new ways of how I can be different than somebody else and really market myself, because I am not ignorant to know that there could be another center that will pop up down the street and try to be better than me. You know, I would go to all the centers, and my brother has a daughter, and so I would take her with me, and acting like I was gonna sign up for this child care center, because I wanted to see what they offered, what they did, and I wanted to do everything bigger and better than what they were doing, and really market myself. And sometimes when we are going through things, and I've had to learn a lot of trial and error, but we need to give ourselves the willingness to be able to fail. And some of us say failure is not an option. No, it's not an option, but it is a necessity, because you will make mistakes that you will learn how to grow from, and not necessarily to stay down. And so there are things that I didn't necessarily do correctly, that I saw that I could do different and better, but I had to take big risks. And because I serve a big God, I didn't want to insult him with the little dreams that I had. I wanted to do bigger and greater. And so I had this crazy idea, and some of you may have a crazy idea. You may have a crazy idea to start a business, an organization, or to change something. And what if your crazy idea actually works? It will be a game changer for you. It will be something that really changes something in your life. For me, it changed my family's life. It changed our financial situation. I honestly, I would never think that I was going to get out of that pit. You know, when we lost our house, I was like, okay, it could not get any worse than this. And then it did. There's like a pit even deeper than when you feel like you've hit rock bottom. And then I didn't have a car. And so that was super, super hard. But through everything, I had the idea that if this works, it will literally change my life. And so I continued to do what I was doing and serving and volunteering. And I volunteered for like literally 4 years. And that was the longest 4 years of my life. And then last year, because of all the work that I did, the county that I live in, somebody walked in, a representative from there, and said, we want to talk to Erica Mejia. And I said, well, that's me. And they said, well, every meeting that we go to, it has to do with children and youth, your name continues to come up. And so we want to know if you would be willing to partner with us. And we would like to pay you if you would be willing to work with us. And then, if you are interested, after a year, there is an opportunity for you to write a grant. We'll teach you everything you need to know. And then that would potentially be something, you know, for you. And I said, okay. So, I mean, it was work. They're like, it's work that you're already doing. You can continue to work from your office, all that kind of stuff. We just want to know, because you are so valuable in the community, if you would be willing to partner with us. And so, of course, they said yes. They started paying me to go to these meetings. And then in January, they put out this grant for proposal. They taught me what I needed to do. And then I now get, for the next 3 years, a very nice salary with benefits on top of everything that I'm doing. And I just get to stay working from my office. They're like, we don't want you to change anything. We don't want you to do anything. We want you to work exactly where you are. And, you know, whatever you need us to do, we'll help you, we'll assist you. You get to hire somebody to work under you. And so that was probably the moment that I realized that everything that I had learned from Miles Monroe and listening to him and to his wisdom, and I don't know the people that you're blessed with, and I know that he's no longer with us, but I encourage you to get every book that you could ever get your hands on. Charo, you owe me extra for that. I just promoted book sales right here. But I encourage you to do that. Invest in yourself. And I know that it can be discouraging. I know that it is disappointing. Trust me, it was disappointing for me when I'm calling my bank every day, like hoping that money miraculously is like dropping into my bank account. You know, it's like, it was something that I did not understand how we were going to get out of. But the more that I continued to push myself, and just really, sometimes you just have to continue to show up and say, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to continue to do this no matter what it is. There are dreamers and there are doers in this world. But most importantly, we need to be dreamers that actually do something. You know those people that you're like, oh man, they're always talking about this new thing, and they're just a lot of talk, but they don't actually do anything. You have to do something. Whether you do it afraid, whether you do it alone, and I did it alone. I literally would go every single Saturday and try to set up things and do what I did. I didn't, obviously nobody wanted to be my friend because I couldn't afford to go out to lunch with anybody. So I'm there really preparing and doing things all by myself. And now here we are, we're gonna go into our 8th year of business, and we are doing better than I could have ever imagined, and I could have never done it if it wasn't for God helping me. I can never, ever take any credit for the success and where we are today. You know, we have, I mean, to get to be able to hire somebody, and I'm thinking like, man, just, you know, almost 8 years ago, I'm sleeping on a futon in my friend's office, and she had like 5 kids, so I was like going crazy in there. You know, but that was like the only place I really had to go to. And so I am just beyond grateful that I've come this far. And I want to encourage you, no matter what stage that you are in, do not ever give up. I don't care how crazy your idea may be. Your idea just may be the game changer that you need. There are things that we have to come in to learn how to dominate. And I just want to encourage you that if you are wanting to lead something, just a breakout kind of organization or business or whatever it is, you're going to have to learn how to dominate your industry. And that's one thing I had to learn how to do. I had to learn how to dominate what I was doing. And so, again, whatever it is, learn it, do whatever you have to do, all the research in the world that you have to do, invest in yourself through leadership books, Miles Monroe books, all of those things. Listen to everything that he has on YouTube. I'm telling you, you will be the best, get the best leadership tips that you've ever heard in your life. And those are things that I will forever be grateful for. I am forever indebted to the role that he played in my life. And so I just want to thank you, and I appreciate you for listening, and I hope that you're encouraged.